everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the M2 Mac Mini and compare it against the M1 iMac and see which specific Mac you should go ahead and buy. Now, I will definitely tell you, you can't really go wrong here because both these devices are very similar, but they're also very different. So if you want to pick up either one of these Macs, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, these two devices are very, very different if you couldn't already tell. The Mac Mini is basically like a mini PC, but it basically has one of the best chipsets you can get inside of a Mac right now, or maybe even one of the best chipsets you can get in the market right now. With the iMac, it had the last generation of M chipsets, which were still very powerful, groundbreaking, and I would say the impact of the M1 chipset was bigger than the impact of the M2 chipset. So I would definitely keep that in the back of your head as you're watching this video. Now, there are some major differences in the price tag and what these devices are in the first place. So I want to start off with this, the base models of both of these Macs. So with the base model, because they can spec out to whatever you want to, like you can probably spec out a Mac Mini to be way more powerful than a lot of other PCs. So we have to kind of keep them at the base model somewhat of the same. Now, if we were to just get the base Mac Mini, you'd be getting an 8-core CPU, 10-core GPU, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 256 gigabytes of SSD storage. That Mac will cost you $599. But when compared to the base model M1 iMac, you will get an 8-core CPU and a 7-core GPU. So the same amount of CPU, but you are losing 3 cores of your GPU if you're going for that base model M1 iMac. You are also getting 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. So you are basically getting almost the same machine, a little bit of a slower machine, but it's also, this is the big thing, $1,299. For $1,299, you are getting that base model M1 iMac. So it is a pretty big difference here. However, on the M1 iMac, but if you spec out the M2 Mac Mini to be the same price as that M1 iMac, you will actually get it for both $1,299. That M2 Mac Mini will be 10-core CPU, 16-core GPU, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 512 gigabytes of storage. So you are basically getting a way better CPU, way better GPU, but you're also getting twice the amount of RAM and twice the amount of storage as well. And that is if both of these are spec'd out at the same price tag. So, basically what I'm trying to say is you are definitely getting a more powerful Mac, on a Mac Mini per dollar than an iMac right now. Until Apple makes an M2 or M2 Pro iMac, you are pretty much stuck at a device that is less powerful than the Mac Mini. But this is the biggest thing I would definitely tell you. With a Mac Mini, you don't get any accessories, natively. You can buy them separately, but even at $599, you're not just going to go ahead and just buy a box, right? Like you can't just use a box like this unless you're going to use it as a server or something. You will probably have to connect it to a monitor and have some accessories. If you buy Apple's native accessories, they can be a little costly, Like if you wanted to go ahead and buy, Apple's Magic Mouse, Magic Trackpad, and or a Magic Keyboard, those things are going to cost you money because they just don't come pre-installed inside of the boxes. So that is a big thing to keep in mind. If you wanted to go ahead and kind of, get those accessories, those are definitely going to cost a little bit more money. So that's kind of the best thing about getting something like the, M1 iMac, because everything is already just built in, and I love that. For example, if you wanted to go ahead and buy a Magic Trackpad, it's $149 from Apple's website. If you wanted to buy a Magic Mouse, it's $99, so it's a little bit of an extra price tag. If you wanted to buy that keyboard from Apple with the numeric keyboard, whatever, that's $199. Now, not all those come with, Apple's M1 iMac, but you are getting that, Magic Keyboard, and you are getting a Magic Mouse when you're buying an M1 iMac. So those are just, maybe like $200, like maybe like $150 that you're kind of saving that way. But also, and this is the big thing, that monitor of the M1 iMac is very, very good. That is a very solid monitor that I love on that M1 iMac. And that is something you are not getting on the Mac Mini. Now you can buy an even better monitor than what the M1 iMac has, but you have to remember that's going to cost you money at the end of the day. So unless you're not if you're wanting to spend the money, then that's fine. But if you are on a budget, even though the M1 iMac is a little bit less powerful compared to the Mac Mini, you are saving some money because you don't have to go and buy another monitor and you don't have to buy another keyboard or mouse. Those just come natively equipped with you. So unless you already have those things with you, you are saving a little bit of money there. So it is kind of like a conundrum that we have kind of. Now, I do want to go and hit on kind of the exterior. So like I said, the M1 iMac has that monitor. The Mac Mini does not, but the Mac Mini still has the capability of sliding under your monitor, and because of the port selection, you can always reach the ports behind the Mac. There's nothing like on the top of it that you really need to worry about anyway. Now, with the M1 iMac, you really only get like two different sets of ports. So on the base model, you get two Thunderbolt 4 ports. However, on the power adapter of it, you can actually go ahead and get a gigabit Ethernet port if you want to. So it's kind of a nice touch. It doesn't come natively on all of them, I don't think, but you can spec out the M1 iMac to actually have 4 USB 4 ports. So I think that's a cool thing. If you're into that, you have that type of capability there, which is really awesome. But it does not come. It only gets 2 USB 4 ports on that base model iMac. Now on the Mac Mini, the base model Mac Mini, no configuration upgrades or anything, you were getting 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. You are getting 2 USB-A ports, you're getting an HDMI port, and you are also getting that gigabit Ethernet port built in. So that is some really cool stuff that, again, you already have the capability of having. That is a really cool thing to actually have here. Now, if you spec out that M2 Pro Mac, you can actually get it you can get a few more ports built in, let's just say it like that. So you can get 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports on that one compared to the 2 in the previous model. So again, that's kind of like another cool upgrade here. So personally, when you actually have a, Mac Mini like this, you are in a pretty decent spot, and that is something that I really do like about it. So again, when you have a Mac Mini, it definitely by far gets a thumbs up for me for sure, because you are getting way more ports on that. But like I said, nowadays you can just go ahead and get a dongle, and you can just expand the ports that way too, so not really like that big of a deal. But it is one of those things that just kind of makes it easier if you already have the ports there. Now, some other things to keep in mind, you can spec out a Mac Mini to be way more powerful than the top tier M1 iMac. So you can get, you can get 8-core CPU, 7-core GPU. Those numbers are configurable up to both, but you can get up to 16 gigabytes of RAM on the M1 iMac. And you can get up to 1 terabyte of storage on the M1 iMac as well. Now with the model with, 4 USB-C ports, you can get up to 16 gigabytes of RAM with up to 2 terabytes of storage. So it's a little bit better. However, on the M2 Mac Mini, you can get up to 12 core CPU, up to 19 core GPU, up to 32 gigabytes of RAM, and up to 8 terabytes of storage. Like, that is a way more powerful machine than pretty much any M1 iMac or any iMac you could probably buy. Maybe even the iMac Pro, who knows? So this is definitely one of the better devices you can buy, especially per dollar per value. So that is probably one of the big things to keep in mind here too. So at the end of the day, which one would I consider buying? Which one would I recommend you to buy? Well, it really depends on how much power you need. I think the average person, and probably 95% of people out there, if you buy an M1 iMac, you would be perfectly fine. Like, I know it's a little bit more expensive than the base model Mac Mini, but with it coming with a monitor and the accessories already, you're just basically plug and go. You can just move on with your life, and that's all you have to worry about. And I definitely do think the M1 iMac, it's going to last for a very long time. It's not going to be gone anytime soon, and it's more than enough powerful for pretty much everyone out there. Now with the Mac Mini, I think this works best if you already have those accessories and or you need all the power. If you don't really care about the price tag too much, then by all means get this one. It's way more faster than the M1 iMac. But if you are kind of on a budget constraint, I know it for the $1299 M1 iMac is more than the base model M2 Mac Mini. Unless you're going to skimp out on the accessories, you may just be better off if you get the M1 iMac. Like, it may make a little bit more sense. But if not, that M2 Mac Mini is very solid. And if you already have the monitor, or you're getting like a $100 monitor or whatever, this thing has an HDMI port. You can just plug it in there, and it is a very solid option as well. So in terms of that kind of covers up this comparison. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comments section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.